No. No, they don't. Hello everyone, TimeToGrind here, and today I wanted to go on a little rant just about all of the, people saying video game violence cause real life violence and, stuff like that, because it seems like every time there's a tragedy, whether it be something like a school shooting or something, everyone tries to find a scapegoat of some sort, something they can blame to make themselves feel better. And I'm not going to get into politics here because talking politics is never fun, and anyone that says that they enjoy talking and debating about politics is a liar, and you should call them a liar straight to their face. So I'm only going to be talking about the kind of video game violence part, but that's only a small part in the whole bigger conversation. Just realize that I'm not ignoring everything. Well, I am ignoring everything else, but it's because I'm purposely ignoring it. I'm not like just saying, oh, this is the only part about tragedies and stuff like that. But either way, recently people have been bringing up, do violent video games cause, violence in real life, or violent tendencies or stuff like that. Because recently we've had a lot of, school shootings and tragedies and stuff like that. And I just want to get this out of the way before anything. If you have like a preconceived notion or, some point of view that you have and you want to just make sure you keep having it, you can easily just go onto Google and type that in, and you can find something agreeing with you. I could go to Google right now and be like, do vaccines cause autism? And I could find a result saying it does easily. Easily. But that doesn't mean that because one result out of 8,000 million tell you that, or because a bunch of, health blogs, say that doesn't mean it's true. And the same thing goes for violent video games, and that whole shenanigans. There were some studies done a while back that, they did say, oh, violence in video games cause violence in real life. But all of the recent studies, for the most part, have said pretty much that they don't, and all the old studies used just incorrect ways to collect data, or they were very misleading or something, because I actually wrote a paper about this in one of my, second year in college or something. And one of the old studies that I looked at, obviously there's a lot of them, but one of the ones in particular that I looked at that was older that, said violence in video games cause real life violence, how they did it in a nutshell, in a pretty, generalization, is they had kids playing violent video games, and then immediately after, not like 10 minutes, not 15 minutes, not 20 minutes after, immediately after, they, measured stuff like, their stress levels or their blood pressure or, just kind of stuff like that. And there's two things wrong with that. First of all, people that are like shooting up schools and causing these tragedies, they're not playing a game of Fortnite on their phone. They die. They immediately put their phone in the pocket and then go into the school. That's not what happens, first of all. That's just ridiculous. So measuring them right after is ridiculous. And second of all, they weren't even measuring anything that matters. Because of course these kids are going to go in like kind of a fight or flight type of mode. They're playing a shooting game where they could, die in the game. It's not like a die in the game, die in real life type of thing. But, when you're playing a shooter game, you're clutching, it's a 1v1, or, you're getting down to the last people in a battle royale game, your blood, your heart starts beating, you kind of start getting into that, kind of stressed out mode a little bit. There's definitely that fight or flight kind of reaction. So for them to be like, oh, there's a fight or flight reaction after playing violent video games, that means people are going to go out and be violent with that fight or flight, is ridiculous. And of course they misled it. They, headline, oh, confirmed, violent video games cause violence in real lives. But all they really did was check that, yes, you have kind of a fight or flight reaction immediately after playing video games. Like, that's not doing much. So, all of the recent studies, obviously, the way science works is in 50 years, there could be more studies that, contradict this, and they say that these studies we've been doing haven't been doing them correctly. But as of right now, all of the studies that point that it does, they're inconsistent, they're misleading, they've got their data by incorrect ways, and all of the newer ones are on a pretty much general consensus they don't. So that's the point number one. just people trying to say it, because I feel like there's three main reasons why people try to say this. First thing is they just don't know better. They're just saying, yeah, sure, it makes sense, because people have been blaming rap music and violent movies and stuff like that, and now we're just on violent video games. You know, in 50 years that we could be blaming something else for this, but there could be like some high-tech holographic Beyblade type thing, and we could be like, you know what, that's causing school shootings right there. But the thing is people have been blaming stuff forever. It just happens to be on video games now. But if you're an older person, you know, if you're like 60 or 70, say, and you don't really know too much about video games or stuff like that, you know, if people start saying, oh, rap music is causing violence, I feel like that definitely gets a lot of people. A lot of people believe that crap, but it's a lot less believable than someone saying, hey, a game like G2A, or not G2A, GTA, where you can go out on the street and just shoot as many people as you want, you can run people over, jack their cars, that causes violence. Like, to just a normal kind of, you know, I hate to say it, but ignorant person, that makes a lot more sense than rap music. It does kind of make a little sense if you're not thinking or using your brain, that if someone's like, hey, games where you can just shoot up places could cause shootings in real life. You know, if you're not really thinking or using your brain and you're just kind of being ignorant like that, I can understand how people would think that. But the problem is that's the ignorant way to think about it without actually thinking about it. And the second really important way that people are trying to blame it on it is they're saying, oh, you know, violence in video games, they desensitize these kids into what killing is like, or, you know, what taking a life is like. And me personally, I know the difference between killing someone in real life. Like, when I kill someone in a video game, I don't really feel anything. I play Rainbow Six Siege. If I play a couple matches, I've killed like 50 people that day. Like, I understand that that's not killing someone in real life, but you know, when like these like school shootings and tragedies are happening and these kids are like recording things and you know, posting them to the internet after the fact, and you know, I watched a video of one of the last ones of the, you know, these people were recording and there were bullets spraying into their room, and hearing the like terror and stuff like that, it's awful. But you know, I felt like, I mean, that was like so surreal to me. Like, that was crazy, and I felt so bad. And you know, there's people that can go to like the subreddit, like, you know, on Reddit, watch people die, and it's just gif after gif of that stuff. I don't like that. That's not me. But you know, I don't not feel anything like when I play Rainbow Six Siege, and the majority of people don't. You know, that's the way most people work. Most people aren't going to get desensitized by that. And the thing is if you're like, oh, well, there will be some people that are desensitized by that, you know, when they're younger, that's up to the parents. Like, first of all, kids shouldn't even be playing, you know, I'm not saying no kid should play violent video games, but legally, a kid has to have their parent get the game, you know, unless you're doing, like, loopholes, like just PC games, you don't really have to worry about that, but, you know, younger people tend to play on consoles anyways, so the only way they're getting those games is by their parents' permission or their parents buying it for them. And my parents, they wouldn't let me play M-rated games until I was about like 13. It feels like a little late considering a lot of, you know, every 6-year-old nowadays is playing Call of Duty. But that's when my parents were like, okay, you know, I think Holden knows the difference between, you know, killing someone in a game and killing someone in real life. And I was. And look at me, I haven't turned out to be a mad psychopath, I guess. But for all these people that are like, oh, well, it can desensitize some kids, so we should be careful about it, I say we just put more responsibility on the parents, because if the parents know that something's up or their kid's acting a little strange, like one of my cousins, he recently just like went into a school with like a kind of like fake Nerf gun. He went into his school and he pretended to shoot people, and he got expelled or suspended or whatever the way is. And obviously, they're like, okay, we need to like figure out what's happening. We're not going to just buy you the Call of Duty games and let you just do that, because there might be something wrong. There might not be, but there might be as well. And most likely it's better to keep it safe. And so they're, you know, hopefully, he's kind of a distant cousin. I don't really see much. I just heard about it. It happened a while ago. But obviously, if your kid is something like that, you need to be careful. And so it needs to be up to the parents, especially, because it's just ridiculous. Like, for all of these kids, these parents, they're like, oh yeah, violent video games, they're the problem, they're what's causing all these tragedies. And it's like, well, have you bought your 8-year-old son Call of Duty World War II? And he's like, oh yeah, he loves those games, you know, he loves doing it, but sometimes he gets a little too violent, and that's why I think we need to do this kind of stuff. And it's like, but technically you're not supposed to be playing those till you're 18, so for you as a parent to being like, okay, this is okay to give to my 8-year-old son, but then no one else should have it, is a little ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. And the third reason, which I don't really hear this as much, but I definitely used to hear it a lot more, is people are like, oh, you know, Call of Duty and these games, they're training kids how to, you know, shoot guns, and we don't need these games to train them how to shoot guns. And first of all, I'm gonna go back to the whole parent thing. If you don't believe your kid should be playing shooting games, don't let them play them. Just simple as that. But second of all, if you've ever played a shooting game, you know none of them really teach you how to shoot a gun. I mean, unless you're playing like hyper-realistic gun simulators, like, you don't really have to worry about that. Playing Call of Duty, every game's just a ray gun that shoots lasers. You know, playing CSGO, the guns have like random recoil patterns that for the most part they don't really have in real life. It's a lot different. So, like, yes, if you're in the sense of saying, yeah, you point the gun and press the trigger and it kills someone, yeah, if you're considering that as training, sure, just as anything else. But it's just overall, I guess what I'm trying to get at with this video is, first of all, obviously, violence in video games don't do anything. And second of all, if you're a parent that you believe that kind of stuff, but yet you're letting your kids or anything like that playing those games, that's not okay. And third of all, you know, going on along with the parent thing, is each parent, they just need to be held more responsible, because if they know that their kid, something might be a little wrong, or, you know, they might not know the difference between violence in video games and violence in real life, maybe you should sit down and have a talk with them and make sure they get it before you're buying them games meant for 17 or 8-year-olds or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to rant about today. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay of me just slaughtering endless amounts of people in Vermintide 2, by the way. This is a great, good old video to go along with this. But yeah, if you guys have any comments, or, you know, if you guys have any kind of different opinions or whatever on this type of topic, let me know in the comments down below. I really love talking to you guys, and I really encourage you guys to, you know, kind of leave comments, because that's one of my favorite ways to interact with you guys. Is to talk with you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then consider leaving a like down below and subscribing to see more content. I have a new video every Wednesday and Sunday, so subscribing will let you get notifications for all that goodness. And yeah, like always guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and see you guys next time.